You've probably either started a business or are considering starting a business because of a success influencer on YouTube. I myself am one of those success influencers trying to teach people how to run an Airbnb business. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about whether or not you should quit, whether or not you should get out of the game, pack up shop if you're in the business, or just move on to find something better, something new if you're not in the game yet. So by the end of this video, I'm going to teach you how to kind of decide whether or not the opportunity that you've been looking at is no longer a good opportunity. So my name's Rakidzich, Airbnb Automated, and let's talk about your YouTube opportunities. Airbnb family, YouTube world, welcome back. So for those of you who don't know me, I've been a business owner for about 10 years. I own 4 companies. One of them, I teach people how to run it here on YouTube. Another one has been just a hard business to run in the newspaper industry for 10 years. So I know how to run businesses through times that really, really suck. But it also forces you to kind of be honest where it's just not good. It's just not good anymore. And so there are a lot of people on YouTube. By nature, it's our job to really brag about how well we do. It's our job to, show you the best of what we have to offer in our opportunity to grab your attention and then coach you through it. Now, there are a lot of shady YouTube persons out there that are just trying to sell courses. They're like, hey, we make all this money, testimonials, buy our course. But there are still people who are teaching you about high risk or speculative opportunities, and they just kind of go through and give you the knowledge so that way you can jump on board and share the success, which is cool. But regardless of whether or not you've been, scammed into buying a $3,000 course to do Amazon or something like that, or if you've for free learned how to run a real estate business like BiggerPockets, myself, or somebody else, you still have expenses to pay. You probably still have a business you're trying to run and it's costing you money. You're probably losing money. And if you're on the outside looking in, now you want to know, am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my time watching these videos? The answer on whether or not you should quit is it depends. But there's 2 categories for this. So I'm going to help you kind of walk through both. One is, do you need to quit? And second, do you want to? Or should you? Is it in your best interest to quit? Without further ado, let's give this video a like and keep the show rolling. First is need, and that is reserved to people who are already running a business. Businesses typically cost money to operate. So bird's eye view, we need to look at 4 numbers. What are your personal life expenses? Like what is your rent, your grocery bill, utilities, phone, things that you just can't cut away. You can always run lean and save money, but at one point, there's dollars that you need to survive. And how much money per month does it cost you to live? Second, how much does your business cost to stay open? You're generating cash out of your business. Hopefully it's not a complete standstill, but you might have salaried employees, an office, inventory that expires that you have to keep buying, memberships, monthly softwares that you need to operate your business, or rents like just similar to your office, but here with Airbnb, we rent apartments and re-rent them. So we have hard costs to staying open. So what are your monthly costs to operate? Third is, how much is that business making you? How much cash are you generating? This is not profit. We already know what your expenses are. Line 1, how much raw cash is being created in your business monthly? And then fourth, how much money do you have to spare on hand? And if you liquidated all of your assets, sold some gold, sold some stocks, sold your PlayStation, your Pokemon cards, sold it all, how much money would you have liquid right now? Those 4 numbers should provide you a timeline, a clock per se. So let's say you have $10,000 in liquidatable assets in cash. Your business is making $2,000 a month in new cash, and your total living and business expenses are $7,000 a month. Well, in 2 months, you'll have generated $4,000 of new cash, $14,000, but you have spent $7,000 per month. So at the end of month 2, you are out of money. You need to close your business before that because you need money to live. If your personal expenses are, say, $2,000 a month, it's responsible right now to have, say, 6 months of living expenses covered to get through this, right? So in this case, the argument would be to shut down right away, which is kind of sad news, but this is an example with some hard pills to swallow. Now, if you like your business, you don't want to shut it down, but you see that there's a timeline for need to shut down, you can make some changes in order to stay in business for a little bit longer. For example, you can identify costs within your business that are non-essential. In my world, we have softwares like channel managers and stuff like that cost money, like elegant things that at scale help you run your business easily. But travel is down right now. We're all making a lot less money traveling or housing people for travel. So some of these softwares are unnecessary right now because we just have such little business that we don't need all these bells and whistles. Now, there are some costs we can't cut. For example, we have housekeepers. When somebody leaves, the home gets cleaned, and then somebody checks in and stays, another new person stays. If we don't have a housekeeper, we can't clean the home and we cannot sell our product. So some costs are essential to operations, but some are not. And if you can cut some of these non-essential costs, you can cause your business to float a little longer. Otherwise, we've renegotiated some of our costs, like our rents with landlords. We've offered to spend 70% of our rent while they take a forbearance on their mortgage, which means that we get a 30% reduction that we never have to pay back, but they get a 100% drop in their monthly expenses. And that 70% that we pay them is meant to cover their inflation on interest, because they're going to accrue interest on their forbearance, and they still have other costs, and we wanted to have them some profit every month as well. So we come to a mutual agreement that saves us both money, which is good. So you can renegotiate terms with suppliers, with the people who hold your leases or your debts, in order to restructure how much money things are costing you per month. And that way your business can survive for longer. The reason why you might want to do this is if you, in your experience running a business, can identify that your business can be profitable 3 months or 4 months from now, you might want to do that. And let's talk about that a little bit more too. Quitting isn't free. Number one, when you shut down a business, there are just some things that you can't sell. Like if you shut down your business and sold off assets, you might be able to fire sell off inventory and generate maybe $5,000, $10,000 in revenue. That means that, when we said that you probably should shut down because you have, 2 months to run out of business and you only have only $10,000 cash on hand. Well, in a month, if you can turn the business around and you fire sold everything off, you might make $5,000, and that could go back into your savings, and voila, you have 6 months of income. But there's going to be things that you can't get back, right? So for example, we have leases, and those leases have year-long, 2-year-long, 3-year-long obligations. We have an office lease that has a buyout clause too. And there are expenses that you just can't get out of by quitting. When you quit on your business, the world doesn't quit on you. The people who supplied you year-long leases haven't quit on you either, and they're going to want their money. So it could cost you $10,000 in a heartbeat to quit your business and to shut your business down in order to save money. But in 3 months of, let's say you lose $2,000 a month in your business, it's less expensive to stay open. And here's what I mean. Let's say your business costs $5,000 a month to run. You're generating $3,000 a month in cash. That means you're $2,000 in the negative. So over the course of 3 months, you're $6,000 in the negative. But if you shut down for 3 months or quit permanently, you might have to buy out a lease. Let's say you have 2 leases like me, and the lease buyout is you have to pay 2 months of rent. Well, that's 4 months of rent. And if your business had, if the leases were $2,000 a month, then that's $8,000 in expenses right there. And I might have other business closing costs that would total to 10. So in that case, if I was making 6,000 over 3 months, or losing 6 over 3, or losing 10 right now for closing, when 3 months from now, I would be in a better position to not close. And if I'm profitable by 3 months from now, the only months that mattered where I was losing money were those 3 in the final equation here. And additionally, if you wanted to get back into the business 3 months from now, it will cost you more money to reopen if you completely closed. So sometimes just downsizing your business to save some money, but identifying the unavoidable costs and trying to ride out your losses over a few months is the responsible thing to do. So if you need to quit because you are going to starve and die, and you're just going to default on your debts and end up having to go through some sort of settlement and stuff, but you need cash, then do that. Because rule number 1 in life is don't run out of cash. So if the only way to have any cash on hand at all is to close up shop completely, then you might need to. Now, if you can survive and keep enough cash on hand to stay open for a few months until you get profitable again, and that is cheaper than closing completely, then stay open. But if the total cost of closing, reopening a new business, combined with the losses in the interim, if it's greater in cost to shut down, then stay open, slug it out, and, of course, brace for the worst and do everything you can to generate new incomes. For example, if you don't have a big business and you have a lot of free time right now because business is slow, you could pick up a side gig. So more responsible gigs would probably to be on Upwork, and to sell your professional service at a discount, offer a special to try to generate some new incomes through some remote sales initiative. You could also pre-sell services at a discount to make new cash as well. These are things that you can do if your service cannot be provided remotely and people can't get it right now. You can also just do a pre-sale and say in 2 months, you're getting 70% off something. And say as a massage therapist or as a hairstylist, you could do this where your cut, color, and style is normally $150. Well, we're going to do it for $40 if you pre-order from me right now. You know people need their haircut and you know that they're waiting. So sell some packages, do some pre-sales. This is one way to generate new cash to survive in your business as we go through this drought. So for the rest of you who are not in a business and don't have to weigh out whether or not you need to close because the cost of running the business is going to drive you into ruin, now the question is, do you want to stay in the business? You might be following my channel or and one of the Amazon channels or a wholesaling channel or just something, right? Full-time filmmaker. You want to be a professional online marketer, video content creator. Some of these might actually even be better now or soon than they were before. Like an argument for that. Small businesses need to change their message to appeal to different emotions to get people to buy their products, because right now there's a lot of uncertainty in the water. So some of the reasons why somebody would be shopping at one store before, like to flex that they have money, like to show off their Gucci and stuff like that, that kind of stuff is going away. Everybody's staying at home. There's really no need to try to be like all fancy in public. I'm sure a bunch of people in Dallas are like just pissed that they, of course, went shopping at Nordstrom right before this happened and they can't show off their materialism to the world. But now people value other things. People are spending more time at home. They are spending more time with family. They're cooking more. Their values are shifting and they're just more uncertainty, right? People want security and they're going to be a little less trusting, I think, moving forward. So businesses need to change their message to try to appeal to the state of mind that new consumers are in. And so they need new video content. They need a marketing strategy to pivot. And a lot of small businesses knew how to sell while the getting was good. They just don't know how to pivot to change their message while the getting isn't good. So you could very well argue that opportunities to learn how to become an online marketer and create quality video content could be the way to go. I'm telling you to do something that's not Airbnb right now on my channel, but I think that actually could be a valid opportunity. Now, if you're a little closer to the software game, for example, like if you know how to code, even if you don't know how to code, you should learn to code. Just knowing how to program and like the whip code can really change the way that your brain thinks. It's kind of like leveling up in life. I spent a year learning PHP, and I think is one of the best things I've ever done because it's really helped me with my logic and problem solving. And now I can write custom softwares to solve my small problems in life if I need it. If you can write code and you can quickly respond to market forces, you could whip up an on-demand services app that does grocery delivery. I mean, there's already one in Texas called Favor, and there's Uber Eats. And I think Uber even has a different non-Eats version. There's like DoorDash and stuff like that. But there are small to medium-sized towns that don't have access to a software like this because the big boys didn't push their campaign there. So if you're in Jackson, Mississippi, and you decided that right now is the time to do a grocery delivery, you could team up with your local grocers and create a system for that, right? This could be something that you could do. And that's another opportunity because people are staying at home and grocery delivery is like a valid idea right now. Teleconferencing, people are working remote. So work remote, you could be assisting with technology there. Now there's going to be a bunch of cultural shift here that we can't predict. We don't know the implications of work remote. If it's regional travel but work remote at the same time, there could be a company that's like, you still need to come to Seattle for the month, but we've downsized our office and kind of cut all the cubicles and are encouraging work remote. We still need you around though. Those people could book an Airbnb for the month. So in my world, the getting could be good coming out of this for business travel as people need to be in Dallas, but they're not going to go into the office as much. And they would like a nice place to be able to work from home with a kitchen and be able to build a life there for the month because people won't want to be in a small hotel paying an inflated price for a terrible continental breakfast downstairs and having to eat out all the time and they're not able to be financially responsible. It'll be better to pay for an Airbnb for a month with a kitchen and they can budget and control their costs and be close to work and all the fixings. That is an argument for Airbnb in the US if this happens. But if it's completely work remote, do whatever you like, now people might just stay home or they might fly to Bali. Right? They're like, I want to be on an island. I'm going to go to Turks and Caicos. I'm going to go to Costa Rica. I'm going to go to Colombia, Thailand, Bali, and I'm just going to work from paradise. And now vacation rentals could have a huge hit, like a huge jump in revenue. Hostels might be making a ton of money. Those travel year companies that are like digital nomad companies might make a lot more money too. We might see that businesses are encouraging a digital nomad culture coming out of this because they can save money on office space, increase the sense of autonomy with their employment. And of course, employees are happy that they get to work wherever they want to. Culture could change for that. This could be the beginning of something completely new, per se. And these are opportunities that you should be looking at. You're keeping your eyes open for new opportunities because anything can happen. You need to keep a clear, objective mind as to what is actually going on. Do not have confirmation bias for your current opportunity. I don't care if you've been watching my Airbnb channel for 2 years, waiting to get in as you saved up. I don't want you having feeling that the sunk cost of spending 2 years learning on this channel means that you have to do this business. But with that said, if you've spent 2 years on this channel learning this industry, you have a lot of intangible assets. I'd call that an intangible asset is something I learned from Ken Jones. He's an entrepreneurship professor in Houston. Examples of intangible assets are like specialized knowledge, proprietary knowledge, a customer list, softwares. Well, softwares are now becoming tangible because you can finance against them, you can amortize them, you can sell them. So before, softwares used to be considered intangible assets way back in the day, back when I was like homeless in 2009. It was a different category, different video, different story. If you've got skin in the game, like mental attention in the game on an opportunity that you haven't jumped on yet, you should continue your journey for knowledge there because you get exponential returns as you get better at something. So you should still be paying attention to whatever industry you know the most about. Still pay attention to it. Be ready to jump in if the getting is good. Just don't lie to yourself because you spent 2 years learning about it. That's just my only advice for you there. At the same time though, you should be moonlighting other opportunities. So I think that quitting is probably the worst thing you can do at anything. The times that you should quit are a rare percentage, a rare 2 or 3% of cases should you actually quit something because you have so much accrued value in the game. You have assets, customer lists, you have systems in place if you own your business, and otherwise you have some momentum, even if you're not in the game yet, from the fact that you've dedicated so much time to learning something. So I strongly believe that you should not quit whatever it is that you're doing or trying to do, but you should be objectively looking for new opportunities. This is what's going to make you the most money coming out of this. People are staying positive, staying disciplined, and staying honest with themselves and about how the world is and really looking for those objective opportunities are going to be making the most money. If you're losing your cool, you're freaking out, if you're playing victim, going, I should have never listened to that guy, I should have never spent that money doing this business, because I know that Amazon FBA isn't free either. I know that there's things that you have to do. There are very few things that are free. You want to be a filmmaker, you have to have the gear, you have to rent the gear or buy it. Very few opportunities are free to get into. So you can either whine and complain that you spent money at exactly the wrong time and we're just coming into what could be a once in every 50 years, once in every 70 years level disaster. And you can blame the influencer if you want for showing you how awesome it's been and you just got in at the wrong time. Or you can take your lumps as an adult and try to recycle the assets that you do have and you have accrued and plan to get ahead of your competition. Because looking at it from a business standpoint, completely secular, if a business dies, a business dies. No human dies if a business dies, I believe. But hopefully the people who worked for a business, if it goes out of business, hopefully those people can find new jobs. There is some level of suffering even when a business goes under. But if you think about it, if you're one of 10 main businesses in a territory that services an industry, and you're one of 3 that survive this economy, there are 7 less competitors, which means there's more pie for you at the end. So staying in something, even though it sucks, could be the key to your riches on the back end, just by being a little bit stubborn and by being a little bit resilient. So you have power here. I did a video recently to Airbnb hosts about the power that they have just by being in the game. They're in position to take advantage. Now, if you're smart about understanding that, you can make a lot of money by being in position for when opportunity comes. Don't be a landline company like MCI. Did MCI actually buy AT&T? Maybe they did. So maybe MCI did it right. But don't be like a bad landline company that didn't go cellular, or don't be Toys R Us that put all their toys on Amazon and then didn't make their own website for like way too long and then they went bankrupt. Don't be like newspapers who had all the attention in the world for 100 years, and when they could have gone digital a decade prior when the internet hit, if they were just progressive, they'd be the people that you're reading your news from instead of like Huffington Post and Wired. You're in position, even when you're losing, you've got prime position you can take advantage of. And newspapers are a great example. So be smart about it. If you have any other questions, put in the comments. Other business owners with key token advice for people who are new to business. All of us business owners, I think, should help each other because, perspective helps in these hard times. And then For those who aren't in business yet, if you've got advice for YouTube as a whole, put it in the comments. I would love for you all to contribute. We should all be sticking together. I'm going to do a future video about Airbnb specifically, and if you should shut down your Airbnb business, we'll look at the numbers for that too. But for now, thanks for watching this video. And of course, as always, I'll see you on the other side.
Hi.